Hi everyone, Nat Richards here from Tex on the Move. I'm at Trantino today in Sydney with Shane and Sean. Sean putting on his best face, trying not to be particularly nervous. He's going pretty well. Anyway.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Could be worse, I suppose.
Yeah. So hopefully the sound recording is okay because he's the man with the mic, so we're going to have to try to talk that way. Reason for my visit over to see these guys today is because I'd like to give you guys at home an idea of what they've been through in coming to Australia. How long have you been here, Sean? Only a few months now?
I've been here just over 2 months.
Yeah, and Shane?
I got here in January, so
yeah, so pretty seasoned.
11 months now nearly, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, as with other videos we've done recently, what I really want to do with you guys is get an idea of kind of a warts and all impression of what Australia is all about. You guys are great because there's not that many people who move to Sydney, and in trucks as well, or HGV is something that we don't get as much of, even though we'd love to get more of it coming out of the UK in particular. So let's start off with your impressions of what Australia was going to be like before you got here. The challenges specifically that you thought you were going to face and how tough it was going to be. What were you worried about?
I suppose the biggest worry was getting the visa sorted out, and it all seems pretty daunting. So much documents to get together, and not sure what way it's going to go. Are you doing it all right? And then when you get the application sent off, it's all pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Works out fairly simple, to be honest.
Yeah. And Shane went from working holiday visa across to a
sponsorship visa, yeah. Yep. So,
so you're in Sydney?
Yeah, it was all straightforward really. Once you get all your documents together and sent off, it's a waiting game, and it can be worrying if you're going to get the visa or not. It all worked out straightforward in the end.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And Sean, what do you think?
My biggest concern before I got here was how I'd manage in the heat.
Yeah.
I do not like the heat at all. Since I got to Sydney, the weather's been a bit hit and miss, but thankfully I'm acclimatising and it's slowly getting hotter, so I'm getting used to it. I came at the right time of year.
Yeah. So, this first summer coming is going to suck, right?
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah,
but
you're going to sweat a lot.
hopefully, I've been here 2 months now. I got another month and a half before the real summer comes in, so hopefully I'll acclimatise slowly to it.
Yeah, sure.
Get used to it.
Anything else stands out as a challenge you thought you were going to have before you got here that you had to deal with?
For me personally, I thought it would be. I haven't worked on trucks in quite a while. I worked on plant before I got here, so then trying to transition back onto it, I was a bit worried. But since I've come to Adtrans, they've given me the time to learn, relearn what I had forgotten, so it's not been too bad.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Everyone in Sydney is pretty laid back, and everyone's willing to help. Good atmosphere,
good.
Even in the workplace.
Which is funny because Sydney normally would be known for being pretty fast-paced and kind of hectic. It's a little bit kind of London-ish, but I guess laid back by a London standard.
Yeah. I lived in London for a number of years before I came out here, and there's a much more homely feel to Sydney. I think people on the bus even are a lot nicer than they'll actually engage with you if you need help, whereas in London people will sit there and have their heads down, and everyone's outgoing. It's good. Life's a lot better over here compared to London. You always going to keep the weather, everyone's a bit happier.
That's true, yeah, I agree with that. There's definitely a lot more outgoing. I lived in London for 2 years before coming over here as well. Yeah, I find the exact same, a lot more outgoing here.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And anything else that stands out from the experience so far that was a challenge that you had to get over? How did you find accommodation?
Well, accommodation is expensive. that's the biggest thing, yeah, it's very expensive, but it is worth it. You're so close to the beach. I find that I finish work at 4 o'clock and I can be at the beach by 4:30.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, like.
So it is possible to live a bit of that Australian dream. It's not just hype.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you definitely can. Yeah. It's a little bit more expensive, but I suppose it translates over that you're earning more here as well. So
yeah,
it kind of works out. It evens out really.
So you do find Aussie wages kind of balance out that cost of living?
Yeah, they do, definitely.
Yeah.
They do.
Would you say you're better off here than what you were elsewhere? In
Definitely.
The UK?
Definitely better off.
The standard of living over here is a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How about things that aren't so good? Anything stand out that you've been challenged by so far that just won't go away?
For me, it's just trying to get used to the pricing system.
Yeah.
Like, money's a bit weaker over here than, say, like a pound or the euro. So then when you're paying $10 plus for a pint, you think you're being ripped off.
So you must be drinking nice beer.
But but when you equate it back, it only works out about the same anyway. So everything looks daunting when the prices seem a bit higher, but when you equate it back to what it actually is, so it's all practical, all the same.
Yeah. How about family and friends back home? Are you missing people?
I'm not homesick yet. I've only been here a short time though.
Yeah.
And I have got holidays booked to go home already.
Yeah.
So I'm not too homesick. What about yourself?
Yeah, I don't get homesick. I do miss my family, but it's always FaceTime and video calls, so that makes it easier, you know.
Yeah.
Something I've noticed since I've been over here is like there's a huge Irish community in around Randwick and Coogee where the two of us live.
Yeah.
So like I lived in London for best part of 2 years, and you could spend weeks walking down the street not seeing anyone, you know. But around where I live, I meet people on the daily that I know, and even I've met 4 or 5 people from back home in my hometown that I wouldn't have seen in years walking down the road in Australia.
Yeah, right.
Jesus,
That's cool.
I went to school with him.
Yeah.
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 You're in the right spot for that, though,
Yeah.
to be fair.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
suburbs of Sydney is basically Ireland.
Yeah, there's a huge Irish community.
Huge Irish community, and they're all fairly close.
Yeah.
And
What is it with Irishmen and being cliquey like that?
I wouldn't say they're cliquey. I've made a huge amount of friends, different nationalities in the UK since I got over here.
Yeah.
Friend group has really grown. Had some great friends, I'd say, over here since I got here.
That's great.
And that's something I didn't really do in London either. It's very hard to make friends in London, but
Yeah.
everybody's just go all the time. And it's a great social life here as well as weekends, you know, when it gets together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think I'm about to do it. I'll let you get back on.
yeah.
Thanks very much.